The morning sun illuminated the serene Bodhi tree under which the Buddha often shared his wisdom with his disciples. Today, Siddhartha Gautama spoke to Ananda, his devoted companion, and the assembly gathered in silent anticipation. Ananda, began the Buddha, his voice calm and steady. Life presents choices much like paths diverging in a dense forest when the mind is unclear. Decisions become like wandering in darkness without sight of the way forward, Buddha continued. Ananda, listening intently, replied, Master, how can one find clarity amidst the complexity of choices clouded by doubt and fear? The Buddha paused, his gentle gaze resting on Ananda, and said, Clarity arises through stillness, not from hurried actions or fleeting thoughts. Picture a pond stirred by wind, the Buddha explained. The water ripples and mud rises, obscuring the reflection of reality. In such moments, patience is essential, said the Buddha. You and your disciples seem idle while our village struggles to harvest crops and feed hungry mouths, the man exclaimed. Is it idleness you accuse me of? Or is it a different burden that weighs on your mind? The Buddha asked. The breath anchors the mind, grounding it in the present. The storm of doubt calms when the breath deepens, he said. Stillness follows like the quiet after a tempest. Observe without judgment, the Buddha added. Watch thoughts as they come and go, like clouds drifting across the vast sky. Ananda reflected. Master, does clarity always lead to the right decision? Or can it reveal unpleasant truths one must confront? The Buddha responded, Clarity does not promise comfort but illuminates the truth that guides you toward wisdom and compassionate action. A merchant from Vaishali once faced this truth, Buddha shared, weaving a story that held profound lessons for the disciples. He needed to decide whether to sell goods at a loss or return home with unsold wares, Buddha recounted thoughtfully. Confusion weighed heavy on his heart, so he sought solace by the river. Observing its constant yet tranquil flow, Buddha said, as he watched. His mind settled, and the clarity of purpose emerged, guiding him beyond mere profit to community service. He explained. The farmer tends his field, the merchant sells his goods, and each contributes in their own way, the Buddha said. My offering is of a different nature, yet no less meaningful than theirs, the Buddha added with warmth. Ananda listened deeply, inspired to apply the lessons of stillness and clarity to his own life and choices. The assembly, gathered around the Buddha, contemplated his words in silence, each carrying the wisdom into their hearts. The teachings resonated, bridging the gap between philosophical truth and practical actions with simplicity and timeless significance. Buddha continued, Clarity arises when the mind is quiet, yet it grows only when wisdom guides the silence of understanding. Ananda, life's greatest choices often challenge us to pause, reflect, and truly discern between desires and meaningful pursuits, Buddha said. Ananda ventured. Master, how does one overcome impulsiveness when stillness feels impossible amid pressing matters demanding immediate attention? The discipline to pause in urgency transforms decisions from reaction to thoughtful response. The Buddha answered with steadfast assurance. Embrace time as an ally, Buddha continued. Rushed choices seldom nurture clarity, nor do they lead to decisions rooted in peace. True insight springs from viewing life in its entirety, not focusing solely on its fragments or fleeting sensations, Buddha advised. Ananda pondered, asking, Master, how can one cultivate this perspective and broaden the view beyond momentary conflicts and choices? Expand the horizon of thought, Buddha suggested, to embrace interconnectedness rather than the isolated concerns clouding the mind's vision. Understanding impermanence, Buddha explained, frees the mind to seek wisdom that resonates with enduring truths beyond temporary attachments. Even within challenges, Buddha added, Clarity allows us to see deeper meaning and foster connection instead of fostering division. Another day, the Buddha and his disciples rested beneath a great banyan tree, its vast branches offering welcome shade. The noon sun was harsh, and the air was thick with the hum of insects and whispers of swaying leaves. The lotus blooms from muddy waters, the Buddha concluded. So too does clarity emerge when we honor patience and insight. With this reflection, the day's teachings ended, leaving the disciples enriched, encouraged, and united in their journey toward wisdom. Another day, under the expansive shade of the Bodhi tree, the Buddha gathered his disciples for yet another profound teaching. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, dancing patterns upon the earth where seekers of truth sat in reverent anticipation. Ananda, the Buddha began, his voice steady as the gentle breeze. Life often challenges us to make decisions beyond mere logic. Compassion is the flame that illuminates the path, guiding choices with care, wisdom, and a heart open to connection. He continued. Ananda, ever curious, asked, Master, how does one foster compassion when anger or despair clouds the mind's innate kindness? The Buddha paused, his gaze unwavering, then spoke. Begin with yourself, Ananda. One cannot give what one does not nurture. Picture a wanderer lost in a cold desert night, guarding the flame that holds warmth and hope for survival, said Buddha. If the flame dies, the path vanishes into darkness. It must be shielded, protected, and nurtured against harsh winds, he explained. Ananda pondered, asking, Master, does compassion require self-sacrifice, even when our own survival is at risk or in fragile balance? The Buddha responded, compassion's essence is not sacrifice but connection, understanding that all beings share a web of interdependence. He shared a story, woven from the tapestry of life in a bustling village where wisdom unfolded amid ordinary choices. A farmer in Rajgir sought to divide his land among his children. Yet the flames of greed clouded his initial judgment, Buddha said. He paused briefly, allowing the gentle sounds of nature to harmonize with his profound teachings. To cease judgment is to see without distortion, the act of observing others with purity and compassion, he concluded. Guided by compassion rather than fear or favor, the farmer divided his land, uniting his family in fairness and mutual care. Buddha concluded, compassion protects decisions from falling prey to ego's fleeting desires, grounding actions in the eternal wisdom of interconnected hearts. Buddha said. Ananda, inspired, reflected, Master, is there ever a choice where compassion must be withheld or tempered to serve the greater good? Compassion is never withheld, Ananda, the Buddha answered, but its expressions may vary according to the needs of the moment. Imagine rain falling upon parched earth, Buddha explained. It sustains life yet knows to pause when floods threaten destruction. Compassion adapts, Buddha continued. It transforms according to circumstances, but its purpose always remains to nurture and protect life. Ananda's gaze was steady, thoughtful, as he asked, Master, what steps help cultivate compassion amidst challenges that test one's patience? Begin with mindfulness, Buddha instructed. Awareness of thoughts and emotions reveals where the barriers to compassion silently reside within. Meet conflict with understanding rather than reaction. For connection heals divisions that defenses deepen, Buddha advised his attentive disciples. Patience strengthens compassion like roots anchoring a towering tree against storms. Buddha said, encouraging his disciples to practice with commitment. As the afternoon sun warmed the gathering, the Buddha spoke of kindness born not in convenience but in moments of sacrifice. Compassion does not judge who is deserving, Buddha said. It seeks always to uplift, heal, and guide toward truth and wisdom. A merchant once faced ruin after his ship's goods fell prey to the winds and waves, scattering his wealth to the sea. Broken-hearted yet moved by the sight of hungry villagers, he shared his remaining provisions freely. Despite his own hardships, Buddha shared. The merchant earned not wealth but goodwill. Discovering compassion replenishes even when the external supply seems depleted, Buddha said with certainty. The flame within must shine brighter when the external world dims, Buddha said, his words resonating in the hearts of all present. Ananda asked, Master, can the presence of compassion change not only decisions but also the outcomes that follow in time? Compassion transforms outcomes, Buddha replied, for it moves actions toward connection, unity, and healing. Fostering peace within and around, it ripples outward, like pebbles cast in water, touching lives beyond what the mind conceives, Buddha added with serene assurance. Compassion is not an act but a state, Buddha said. A decision guided by compassion becomes timeless, influencing beyond the immediate. As the teaching unfolded, the disciples reflected upon compassion's many forms: listening, understanding, nurturing, protecting, all united by a shared essence. Compassion requires resolve to sustain, Buddha concluded. It is a journey, not a fleeting moment of sentiment, but persistent and unwavering. The disciples bowed before the Buddha, carrying his wisdom in their hearts, ready to light their lives with the flame of compassion. Another day, the assembly gathered beneath the Bodhi tree, the Buddha's serene presence drawing them into the promise of profound wisdom. The sky above mirrored the stillness of the disciples' minds, prepared to absorb lessons that might forever shape their lives. Ananda, the Buddha began, his voice as steady as the earth. Resolve is the jewel that completes the wisdom of decision-making. Without resolve, Buddha continued, clarity and compassion remain unfinished, unable to manifest their full power and transform intention into action. Ananda asked, Master, how can resolve endure when doubt creeps into the heart, urging one to abandon even the noblest pursuit? The Buddha answered, resolve grows when rooted in purpose, watered by patience, and strengthened through practice amid the storms of life. Imagine a craftsman polishing a jewel, Buddha explained. Each stroke brings brilliance closer, yet doubt tempts him to leave the work incomplete. The jewel shines only when the craftsman perseveres, Buddha said, trusting his hands, his vision, and his commitment to the task. Ananda, resolve is not stubbornness. It is steadfast, embracing flexibility without abandoning the ultimate pursuit of truth, Buddha added. The Buddha shared a story from Kapilavastu, where choices shape the destiny of individuals and the strength of a community. A warrior faced the dilemma of abandoning his city or standing firm against the impending invasion, threatening his people, Buddha said. With clarity, he discerned his values. With compassion, he considered his people. With resolve, he decided to protect his city. His unwavering commitment inspired unity among his fellow citizens, forging strength that repelled the invaders and secured peace, Buddha recounted. The warrior's resolve transformed fear into courage, division into harmony, and uncertainty into decisive action that benefited the whole, Buddha concluded. Ananda, moved by the story, reflected, Master, how can resolve balance between rigidity and adaptability, ensuring neither extreme dominates the course of action? Resolve must align with wisdom, Buddha replied, allowing the mind to adapt while remaining anchored to the enduring truths guiding decisions. The assembly pondered this balance, understanding resolve as both anchor and sail, steady yet responsive to life's winds and currents. The Buddha spoke again, his voice soothing yet powerful, addressing the timeless challenge of overcoming obstacles that threaten one's resolve. Ananda, doubt, fear, and distraction are storms seeking to scatter resolve. Yet perseverance shelters it like mountains guarding gentle valleys. Commit to self-reflection, Buddha advised, for it uncovers the roots of doubt, replacing them with clarity and confidence born of understanding. Practice patience, Buddha encouraged. Each step forward strengthens resolve. Embrace effort as an ally, and let progress guide the journey. Imagine a farmer tending his fields, Buddha explained. Each furrow and seed represents effort planted with faith in future harvests. The farmer trusts the cycles of nature, allowing resolve to lead through seasons of growth, challenges, and fulfillment, Buddha continued. Ananda asked, Master, does resolve grow stronger through failure? And how does one recover when resolve seems lost entirely? Failure is fertile soil, Buddha answered. Through reflection and learning, resolve renews itself, growing stronger with every challenge overcome. Meet setbacks with compassion toward yourself, Buddha advised. Judgment weakens resolve, while understanding rebuilds it from within. The jewel does not shine instantly, Buddha said. It requires persistence, patience, and belief in its innate brilliance. The disciples reflected on their personal struggles, finding renewed hope in the wisdom guiding them toward stronger resolve. Resolve is not isolation, Buddha said. It thrives in connection, leaning on shared purpose and mutual support when individual strength falters. In Kapilavastu, Buddha recounted, a community united their efforts during famine, combining resolve into collective action that preserved the lives of many. Together, they proved resolve's power multiplies when hearts align and actions unite under shared commitment, Buddha said with calm certainty. Ananda, resolve remains steady amid change when guided by clarity and compassion, anchoring the mind while empowering the spirit, Buddha stated. Recognize the jewel's facets within yourself, Buddha encouraged. Every action, choice, and effort polishes resolve into lasting brilliance. As twilight descended, the Buddha's teachings illuminated hearts and minds, leaving the disciples enriched with purpose and strengthened resolve. His words resonated in silence, carried across the assembly, connecting each person in their shared journey toward wisdom and truth. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.